Equality Arizona Kickoff event. We do appreciate the turnout. This is a record-breaking crowd, and we really do anticipate that it will be a year of record-breaking. First off, we'd like to acknowledge some very important people. We all are important in this crowd, but some people here made this an event a possibility. I'd first like to thank Jason Baraz and Karen Cruz of Veritas, who sponsored the event, and for the Clarendon also hosting the event. And then also for Neil Schneider and Sonoran Studios for also doing all of the AV at the event. We also have, thank you. We've got quite a few elected officials here, and we do want to acknowledge their support since we are a public policy organization. First off, we've got Arizona Corporation Commissioner Paul Newman. We've got Arizona Senate Minority Leader David Shapiro and Senators Paula Abao, Steve Gallardo, Jack Jackson, David Lujan, and Robert Meza. In the House, which is the better chamber, I believe, we've got Arizona House Minority Leader Chad Campbell, Representatives Leila Alston, Tom Chabin, Steve Farley, Ruben Gallego, Matt Hines, Katie Hobbs, Eric Meyer, and Anna Tovar. County Supervisor Mary Rose Wilcox is co-hosting our event, as are Council Members Tom Simplot, who is in the crowd, and also Council Member Danny Valenzuela. We also from the City of Mesa have Dennis Kavanaugh, and from the Creighton School Board we have Matt Jewett. And if I miss anyone, I apologize ahead of time, but I do know that we've got a few other candidates who we would really like to thank for attending. We have Kirsten Sinema, who is running for Congressional District 9. We've got David Shapiro, who I've already acknowledged is also running for CD9. And we've got Andre Cherney, who is also a candidate for CD9, all supporters of equality. We have Paul Pinzone, who is running for sheriff. He's in the crowd back there, I'd like to acknowledge him. And then we've got Manny Cruz, who is also in the audience, who is running for mayor of Glendale. And before I get to one of our very important introductions of our first couple here in Phoenix, I would like to say that really what we're trying to do here is to kick off a new year here in Equality Arizona. I mean, there's an elephant in the room, and there probably aren't many elephants in the room, but the elephant in the room is that equality over the years has had a tumultuous few speed bumps, right? But we always get back up. I mean, the LGBT rights movement is at a critical point where we need to decide if we're going to do bigger things or if all we're going to do is do one gala or one dinner a year. And equality has chosen to pick up the mantle to do something more important. What we'd really like to do is try to make a movement that involves people who are not just LGBT, that involve issues that touch upon other areas of identity for all of those who may be LGBT, but for also our allies. So one of our major initiatives in 2012 is supporting our Latino brothers and sisters, many of whom are LGBT, in their fight for justice. I mean, we'd like to first acknowledge the fact that we have joined the One Arizona table. And so we are in complete solidarity with our Latino brothers and sisters against SB 1070 and against being profiled for anybody's identity, whether that's sexual orientation or race. And that is a big objective of Equality Arizona in this upcoming year. Many of our workers and folks in our community are involved in the labor movement. We know that you don't have protections in this state if you're an LGBT person. We've got Brendan Mahoney here of CASE, who is working piece and parcel with us to Brendan Walsh and Brendan Mahoney. See, I call one and I mean to call the other. They're both great Brendans, but we've got Brendan Walsh from CASE, who is really helping to organize our LGBT worker population and get them involved in the larger effort for progressive values in this state. And other things that we're doing. We have a young person by the name of Ilian Cruz who is here tonight, one of our first Frontline Fellows of the year. The Frontline Fellowship Program is a program where we're going into other organizations, whether it's labor or Latino action organizations or women's rights organizations. And what we're asking is that they understand that the LGBT movement is right there shoulder to shoulder in solidarity with them. That's another initiative that we're doing this year. And we're also helping out in electoral efforts with all of the candidates that we've mentioned and many candidates to come. So we need your assistance. We need your help. We can do things that are bigger than just hold a dinner, as I said. Really, when you look at who's in this room, we've got people from every one of these movements. But we really have to sign up and actually fight the fight. Because 1070 may be this year, or last, but SB 1071 could be next. Who thought that you could profile someone just because they looked like an immigrant? The same way that next year it could be us not being protected as LGBT citizens. Or as allies, we should really join in the fight to say, look, the Boogie Monster isn't going to be the LGBT individual. When we decide that we're not going to protect any kids from bullying, because we don't want to protect LGBT kids from bullying, everybody is harmed. Those are the agenda items that are part of our agenda, and that's where we need your help. Over the last year, we did something I think is extraordinary in the city. We helped elect not only our endorsed candidates like Councilmember Valenzuela, but we also helped elect an excellent first family in Mayor Stanton and Nicole Stanton. I remember one morning walking into the office, not knowing what had happened. I hadn't checked my email at the stoplight on the way to the office that morning when I was helping with the campaign. And I remember the now mayor being frustrated, and I said, what's wrong? And he showed me a mailer that the Republican Party had put out that stated that you shouldn't vote for Greg Stanton because he's endorsed by two organizations, the AFL-CIO and Equality Arizona. And I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, two things. One, if we allow the LGBT community to be demagogued, then we all lose no matter what issue, because it gets the voters who don't believe in equality for all out to vote for the Arpaios or any other candidate who doesn't support all of our issues. But number two, I'll tell you one other thing I learned in that moment. We have a mayor who genuinely believes in LGBT equality. And we have a first lady who is fighting to make sure that our kids are supported. And that is so important. So before I bring them to the stage, I'd like to acknowledge our board members. Bill McDonald, Rebecca Wenninger, Kirk Baxter, Nathan Rotan, Catherine Alonso, and who am I missing? No one. We all fight day to day in this struggle, and we need allies to join us. And I'll bring up the mayor to talk about how he is working toward LGBT inclusion this next year. But I do want to acknowledge that we've got a great leader helping us with our fight, and we need him to join us. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Mayor Greg Stanton and First Lady Nicole Stanton.
She had to do it in heels. And if you've seen both Nicole and I speak together before, Lawrence, thank you for letting me speak first. Because the superstars about to go second. I am honored to be here. I'm honored that Equality Arizona has allowed myself and Nicole to host this reception. Equality Arizona is essential to our community. I'm going to tell you in just a minute a little bit why. But before I do that, I want to reiterate something that Lawrence just said. We need partners in the fight. And I am proud that two of my partners on the City Council that are right there with me on issues of civil rights, human rights, and justice, Danny Valenzuela and Councilman Tom Simplot are here. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. You make me a better mayor. Thank you. And you know, I believe in regionalism. We're going to sink or swim as a region, and that goes not just for economic development, it also goes for issues of justice and civil rights and human rights. And that's why I call on everyone in this room, support Mark Mitchell to be the next mayor of Tempe. We need him to win that election. He's going to be a great mayor of Tempe. Mark, where are you? In the back. We need you to be elected, brother, and I can't wait to work in partnership with you to bring these issues to the forefront in our community. And I can't wait till I get to walk about 50 yards from my office at City Hall and meet with Sheriff Paul Penzone when he wins his election. We need Paul to be successful in that effort. But the reality is that Nicole and I wouldn't be standing on this stage as mayor and flop. First Lady of Phoenix. Now Nicole has embraced that. She's embraced it. She loves it, and she's doing a great job with it. But we wouldn't be standing here if it weren't for the support of everyone in this room, either Equality Arizona member, Equality Arizona supporter, friend of Equality Arizona, believer in the cause. Everyone in this audience was there for Nicole and I, and Nicole and I will not ever forget that. I wouldn't be standing here. I want to thank you personally for your support during the course of that campaign. And this organization is essential to our city and the success of our city. It was this organization that appropriately pushed the city council and the mayor, and when I was on the city council, to adopt policies on benefits for gay and lesbian couples. And we are a better city, a more competitive city. We're better able to compete for the best people and retain the very best people because of that. We owe a debt of gratitude to Equality Arizona because it was because of Bill McDonald and his leadership that we got it done at the city of Phoenix. So Bill, thank you very much. This organization has already made us a better city. People ask me why I'm a strong supporter of the LGBT community, and that's because the LGBT community has been there for the city of Phoenix. Look, our Central Phoenix neighborhoods, they're great. They're competitive. They're one of the bright spots in this bad economy when it comes to real estate. And those Central Phoenix neighborhoods, downtown neighborhoods, historic neighborhoods, it's because the LGBT community moved in when no one else would move in and built those neighborhoods to be so strong that everybody wanted to be there. You really helped our budget. You helped our property taxes. You made us a better city. Nicole and I will not forget that. I want to thank the LGBT community for being pioneers and helping us in areas that a lot of people wonder, why do you support this community so much? And Brendan Mahoney, the other Brendan, who's one of my top advisors on my staff, left law practice to join my team. Brendan, I want to publicly thank you. He, working with Equality Arizona, is looking at every ordinance in our city, and every ordinance that doesn't have full equality for the LGBT community, we're going to fix it. We're going to move in the right direction because full equality is what our community, this community deserves. And so, you know, Lawrence, you said it. You said it well. You know, we see too much divisiveness in this community. Divisive, what we're seeing down at the legislature now on this bullying bill that my wife is leading the charge on. We've seen divisiveness in terms of trying to hurt our Latino brothers and sisters. We've tried divisiveness. It didn't work. And it's not going to work for this community. If we want to build the city that we all want, and we want to compete, we want to achieve all we want to achieve, we have to be pro-people. And that means inclusive to everyone. And so the city that I'm going to lead in partnership with Councilman Simplot and Valenzuela and our other allies on the city council, the city that I want to lead is one that understands that being pro-people, all people, whether it be our gay and lesbian brothers and sisters, the Latino community, the African American community, leadership in the disabled community, it has to be a fully inclusive community for us to achieve our goals. And that's exactly what Equality Arizona stands up for. You make us a better city. Pushing us is going to make us achieve our goals. And I, as a mayor, appreciate everything that this organization has stood for through good times and bad. Equality Arizona has been on the right side of the issues. So on a personal level, I just want to say thank you very much. Now my wife, Nicole. I can't tell you, even some of my friends in this very audience, whenever we speak together, afterwards somebody comes up to me and says, I wonder if I'm supported the right Stanton for mayor. Well, you're exactly right. Nicole is an incredible leader in her own right. I am so lucky to have her as my partner, and it is fair to say that without her support, full support, because this is to be involved in this crazy business, it's a total family effort. Without her full support, I would not be lucky enough to be in the position that I am fortunate enough to be in. And it's Nicole, through her own desire, is going to be a leader in her own right, has been an incredible, passionate leader. If you don't know her, please get to know her, because you know she doesn't do anything half-hearted. On this issue of bullying, she understands the impact on human beings, on education, on our economy, and so I am fully in support of what she is doing, and she ain't going to stop till we have won this battle. So without further ado, the First Lady of Phoenix, my wife, Nicole Stanton.
With all of that hype, now I have to actually do something spectacular, since Greg talked about how spectacular I am. You know, Lawrence mentioned the mailer that went out during Greg's campaign that identified Equality Arizona and targeted them as a bad thing and a reason why not to vote for Greg. And I have to say, I'm glad you mentioned that, Lawrence, that was kind of a turning point for me. And it was kind of like awakening the bull. It really made me mad. And I would say that for the first time during the campaign, I actually used my Facebook page, which up until that time had posted pictures of my kids and fun stuff that I was doing. Actually, for the first time that day, posted something about the campaign and said how angry I was that Equality Arizona was being used in that way. And I'm sorry to say that that post about Equality Arizona actually got more hits than when I had my daughter, when I gave birth to my daughter. So but that's a tribute to all the folks in this room, and I'm being totally silly when I say that. But it's true that there's a great spirit and camaraderie in this group, and I look forward to working with each of you on the initiatives that I'm working on. Around that time that happened with the mailer involving Equality Arizona, I started to search my heart as to what I wanted my issue to be if Greg was lucky enough to become mayor of Phoenix. And it didn't take me long to realize that the place that I wanted to make an impact was with regards to bullying of the youth in Phoenix and the youth in Arizona. And it comes from a real place of personal passion for me. Some of you probably know my story, some of you are probably tired of hearing it, but for those of you who don't, I grew up in a very small town in Utah, and my brother, when he was in high school, he wasn't out. He didn't know he was gay at the time, and he was bullied. He was bullied very severely. He was actually beaten up after he visited a school board meeting and asked for funding for arts and speech and debate. He was beaten up by some football players. And coming out of that, my parents didn't do anything. The school didn't do anything. The school told my parents it would be best if they just let it alone and that it would go away. And you know, subsequent to that, my brother went on to college, and then he passed away in 1991 to AIDS and HIV-related complications. And so this issue is very personal for me. I feel like he's the driving force behind what I do. I want to make him proud every day when I do the work that I do on the bullying initiative, and it comes, as I said, it comes from a place of deep personal passion for me. And I really am trying to make him proud, and in doing so, hopefully I'll make all of you proud. Greg mentioned the bullying legislation at the Capitol, and of course that wasn't my bill. I'm not elected down at the legislature. It was actually Senator Shapira's bill. And I have to give kudos to him, and he did a great job in getting that bill through the Senate down at the legislature. It went through by a narrow margin, but he did get it through the Senate. And for some of you who don't know what happened to the bill after that, it was a safe schools bill. It protected all kids from bullying. It required training in schools to help prevent bullying. It required notification to parents. It tried to reach text messages and other types of pervasive cyberbullying that are so harmful to kids. And it had no enumeration in there about just protecting LGBT kids or kids of a certain color or national origin. And yet, the person who attacked the bill attacked it as gay propaganda. That bullying is just gay propaganda to get LGBT folks into schools to get at our children. That's not the case at all. The bill was not a gay conspiracy. It was a bill to protect all kids. It's just silly. It's almost laughable. And it would be laughable if it wasn't so tragic that that sentiment and that mentality was able to kill the bill. I'm not going to mention who killed the bill because it's not worth mentioning, but I will say to that person, and all of you in the room should know, that I'm working with folks to bring the bill back next year. We're going to have I'm proud to stand with Equality Arizona, with groups like 1 in 10 and GLSEN, Anti-Defamation League, and other groups that we're going to build a broad coalition of support to reintroduce this bill and get it passed next year. I'm not scared of her, and I'm going to bring it back next year. I'm going to work as hard as I can to make sure Now, the last thing that I wanted to mention, I mentioned the mailer that was sent out attacking Greg and his support of Equality Arizona. One of the things that Equality Arizona does, of course, is to back candidates. And given that I'm headed back down to the legislature, the hotbed that it is, we really need your support in supporting candidates that believe in the cause that Equality Arizona advances. And so I beg you, I plead with you to make my job a little bit easier in helping to get that bill passed and support those candidates who Equality Arizona supports. If you're comfortable doing so today, you know, the work of Equality Arizona is so important. If you have the ability to do so, write a check to them if you're able to help them support that cause. So thank you for hearing me out. I'm really pleased to be here, and I'm proud to stand with Equality Arizona.
And to close the speaking portion of our event out, Rebecca Wininger, who is one of the co-chairs of Equality Arizona.
I don't wear heels like Nicole, so I could pop up here by myself. I'm not quite sure what to say because Lawrence, Greg, and Nicole did such a great job of saying it all. I would like to recognize Reginald Boulding and Lorenzo Sierra, who are also in our crowd who are running. Trying to make sure that we don't forget everyone. You know, I was doing an interview yesterday morning for the Arizona Republic, and the reporter said, why? Why do you keep the fight? And while we sit here and talk, we talk specifically about the LGBT community. We talk about a civil rights organization because I think as we've heard in our World War II history lessons, when they come for me, sometimes the next knock at the door, they come for you. And we've seen that the last 4 years in this state. And I don't know about you, but I don't want it to get any worse than what it is now. And I'm ready to fight that fight. And I have a great, wonderful people on the board who are willing to fight for that. But 7 voices, it can go for a little bit, but look at the crowd around you. Just take a moment and look right, look left, look at the diversity in this crowd, that everyone in this crowd is accepted and we're willing to go to battle together. So today I'm going to ask you to join us in that fight because we fight for the LGBT community, but we fight for you as well in a lot of these wacky issues that come up. Today we are relaunching ourselves in our right, our time, our future. Our right is equality. No matter whether you're talking LGBT, you're talking the right to be able to walk down the street without being harassed because you happen to look like somebody that SB 1070 wants to go after. Our time is today. We draw the line in the sand today and we say no more. And our future today is what we make of it. I'm asking you today, we'll have people circulating, to join our C4. I'm asking for $20 from you. If you'd like to write more, I won't say no. Let's be clear about that. But to become a member of our C4 and to begin to have a voice, so as Nicole said, we have certain people we'd like to stop their voice, so to speak, and the mouthpieces that they engender. We need to say it together. So today I ask you that, to join our C4, whether you're part of our community or an ally to our community. When we look around, we are one.